Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is the overview of CondProb, the first of the three functions you'll be writing for the machine learning project. So here we have what it does. It computes the conditional probability that a word appears in a spam document or a ham document. So it takes three inputs. The particular word, so this input could be any word. So you're picking a few words that might appear in spam documents: miracle, bargain, new. So don't use the actual words in your code. Use the name of the input. The second input to the function is the list of the training docs. So this will consist of both spam and ham. So you're going to want to structure your code. You're going to use a conditional to only work with one or the other of these each time the function is called, not both. Okay, remember, since each item in the list is a document record, it has two fields. Label, which will let you know if that particular document corresponds to a spam email or a ham email, and then words, which is the list of the words in the corresponding email. Okay, and remember that you'll access these through writing something like doc.label or doc.words, right? Depending upon the name of the variable that you stored the document record into. Okay, and then the third input to the function is the variable given, which will either be spam or ham. And again, just like when you work with Word, don't use individual words. Here, don't use the string spam or the string ham. Right? The variable given will have the value ham or spam. So in your code, you'll be working with given. Okay, so you're going to compute the conditional probability by counting the number of given documents, so ham or spam. You'll count that using doc count. And then for each document of the given type, again ham or spam, you count the number of times word appears in that document and count it using word count. So at the end, doc count will be a count of the number of either ham documents or spam documents. Word count will be a count of the number of times word appears in the entire set of the spam or the ham documents as defined by given. The structure of your function will be a nested for with a conditional in between. So the outer for goes through the training documents, so that's docs. Then comes the conditional, where the document's label matches, i.e. is equal to given. Then you'll continue along, increasing the doc count, and then using an inner for to go through the document's words, comparing each word in the document to the word input, and if they are equal, increasing word count. Okay, and then the final two lines, and these are already there in the program. Compute the conditional probability using word count and doc count, and return it. And the plus ones here are a little bit of magic, just to guarantee that none of the conditional probabilities is 0. But it's possible that a given feature word doesn't appear in any of the training documents. So we need to guard against that situation by assuming the existence of one more document that contains the word. Okay, let's go and look at the code now. All right, so remember, when you start this, when you start working on CondProb, change false to true, TRUE with a capital T. Switch to the Variable Explorer tab. Go to Settings, Options here, and remove all the variables. Okay, so last time in the background overview, this warning is here because we haven't defined word count and doc count. That's the first thing we need to do. All right, let's flip back to this. Okay, we want to write an outer for that iterates through the training documents. Docs here is the list of training documents. All right, so we want to look at them one document at a time. All right, so inside the loop, work with doc, not docs. Remember, doc is a single document, docs is the entire list. Okay, so what's the next thing? All right, so we need a conditional to determine if the label of doc matches given, i.e. is equal to given. Okay, so I'm going to let you write this part. You have an if. Remember, doc is a record. With two fields, label and the list of words contained in the corresponding email. Okay, so write a condition here to compare the docs, the doc, DOC, the label of that, to given. All right, so I'm going to indicate that with an ellipsis and a colon. And then this is where you, excuse me, count the document. And I'll use an ellipsis again. And here is where you iterate through the words of doc. So remember, that'll be, what was it? Doc.words. And for each word that matches the word input, count that word. Okay, so you'll have a similar structure for, we'll take a look at this in a minute in an example program. Something that goes through the words of doc, compare the particular word, so don't introduce another variable named word. We'll see in the example, I use W because the name word is already in use. Right, so write a for to iterate through the list of the words in doc, and if the particular word matches word, then use word count to count it. All right, so I'm going to ask you to write that, the code for that, a for loop, a conditional, and then a line to count the word. Let's look at an example. Where did I put it? I think it's this one. Yes, okay. So you can see that I've constructed words as a list of words, and I'm writing some code to count the number of times the word cat appears. Okay, so words is a list of words. This for will give me each word in the list one by one, and then I can compare it to cat and increase the cat count. All right, so I want you to apply this example code to the inner loop that you're writing here, where instead of comparing to cat, you're comparing to the word input that the function receives. Now, it might be helpful for you to see how this function is used. You'll be using it in the train function, which is described in a separate video. But the way that it will be used will look something like this. So in train, you're going to be creating a spam dictionary and a ham dictionary that will store the key value pairs for the feature word and the probability that it appears in this. For a spam dictionary, the probability that it appears in a spam document. Okay, so we'll be adding an entry for the word to the dictionary, and the value that we're adding is the conditional probability for that word and notice train takes table as an input, and we want the train docs And then since we're adding something to the spam dictionary, the string spam. Okay, so this line of code you'll be using in train. This is just an example. Don't use this in CondProb. I'll say that again. Don't use this in CondProb. This is just to demonstrate that when you use the function, whatever word you're training upon at the moment will be given as input to CondProb through the word input. The documents that you're working with in CondProb will come from table.train docs, and that given will be the string spam. Or you can probably imagine we'll need a similar line of code for adding the conditional probability that word appears in a ham document to hamdict. Okay, so it's just an example of how you'll be using the function. Okay, so to summarize, right, initialize the counts, iterate through each doc in the list docs, check to see whether its label matches given. If that's so, increase or count it using doc count, and then follow with an inner for loop that counts those words that match word. Okay, so that's the introduction to CondProb. You all take care. Bye.